What's going on, everybody? JayzTwoCents here, and welcome to the very last 960 review you will find on this channel. Today we're taking a look at the MSI GTX 960 Gaming 2G.
Cooler Masters K-Smart World Series is where you will find the most custom computers on the planet. Head to mod.coolermaster.com for more details. Be there!
Now, if I said I wasn't a fan of MSI for years and years, then I think that you could go ahead and call me a flat-out liar, because I love MSI graphics cards. I always have. I love their coolers. I love how much effort they put into the cooling design, the aesthetic design. And when it comes to gamers, they make something that's not overly flashy, but just looks really freaking cool. And the next generation twin Frozer, like we're looking at here, which they debuted obviously on the 900 series cards, I love the way that these look. And I also love the fact that they carried that lineage all the way down to the 960, which is obviously a lot harder to make a profit on for companies like this when they start putting in their top tier coolers and such, even on lesser expensive cards. Now, I am going to point out, because you guys know how I feel about backplates, that there is no backplate on this card. But I'm not going to hold it against companies that don't put backplates on cards like 960s and 950s, if there was such a thing. I know a 750 Ti is kind of like the 950, but at this price point, I don't expect to see backplates. I expect to see them on top tier cards like 970s and 980s. So I'm not going to hold it against MSI, but it is worth noting that there are brands that have backplates on their cards, like the, I believe the Strix has one, as well as the Gigabyte G1 Gaming has one. So those are nice little extras, but it's not a huge deal on cards like this at the entry level. It would definitely be nice to see, but again, it's not something I'm going to hold against them at that price point. But speaking of the twin Frozer cooler, this one here actually touches the GPU itself. It doesn't touch any of the RAM chips. It doesn't have any sort of a plate on here like the EVGA cards have, where there's a plate that runs the entire length of the PCB that kind of heat spreads heat that comes off the VRMs and the memory chips. So there is no memory cooling on this one whatsoever. They're exposed. And then there is a small, like, kind of a billet heat sink that they put on the VRM here up on the front. But then again, these cards do not get hot. The VRMs do not get too hot. So it's okay that there's a little bit lesser cooling option for the PCB and the VRM. Now, there are 3 heat pipes on here that are keeping this thing nice and cool, along with 2, I believe these are 100mm fans, which are only going to turn on when needed, which in this case is above 61 degrees Celsius, and then they will turn off when they get down to a predetermined temperature, just like all the other Maxwell cards, and then you can customize that if you want to. Now, there's not a whole lot to talk about here. I mean, it's pretty much a standard 960. It's got your DVI dual link, it's got your HDMI 2.0, and it's got 3 DisplayPort 1.2s. So I guess really all there is to do is go ahead and plug this thing into the system, run our gambit of benchmarks, and then we'll talk about this card and where it comes in on the price point and why I think this is really the best of the bunch that I've reviewed on this channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and run that transition. A lot of people like the little minion guy. I like him. He's kind of cool.
Transition.
Now, obviously, the aesthetics of this graphics card are very, very pleasing if you're into this more aggressive looking gaming style. In fact, I mean, obviously, it's called MSI Gaming 2G for a reason, but it even has a white glowing MSI and Dragon logo on the top, which faces the right way. So in your standard case with a side window, you are going to see a nice glowing emblem in there that will match any color build because it's white. Like the Gigabyte graphics card was blue. The EVGA graphics card didn't light up at all, but this one will fit any single build aesthetic. Granted, I guess if it's a red build aesthetic, since it's a red and black card, but the LED at least is white, which is going to be nice as well. Something else that makes this card impressive is the fact that even though it has only that one PCI Express 8-pin connector, it still is able to deliver just as high of an overclock of over 1500, I think 1524 megahertz is what we got out of this, plus 300 megahertz on the memory. We were able to get the same FPS, in fact, a little bit higher average FPS in some titles than the other graphics cards we looked at and have more phases. There you go, guys. JayzTwoCents looking at the GTX 960 from MSI. I promise this is the last 960 we're going to look at. Even if someone else offers one up to the channel, I'm going to turn it down. Enough 960 coverage. We know, we get it. Besides, something new may be coming around the corner because NVIDIA has sent out invites to the graphics cards, or NVIDIA's GPU conference in March. And that's that was when the Titan was launched 2 years ago, so maybe we'll be looking at something new here. I don't know. I got the invite. Unfortunately, I can't go, so I'll be getting the information on the side, if you will. We'll get a little side platter going on there. All right, guys. Thanks for watching this. I know the GTX 960 coverage has been a bit heavy this go around, but we'll get back to some good gaming content, some good overclocking and other hardware stuff, some more how-tos. And I'm heading up to Seattle on Wednesday, the 18th of February, which is only a few days away, hanging out with Barnacules Nerdgasm up there. We're going to be going to PDX Land. If you guys are going to PDX Land, make sure you come and say hi to us, take some pictures. We'd love to meet our fans. And we're going to see what kind of shenanigans we can get into up there in Seattle. I'm afraid it's going to be cold. I mean, shoot, it's been in the 80s here in Southern California. All right, I'll see you guys in Seattle.